Hi guys, this is your girl Wakeji Kamore and welcome to Reflections by Wakeji Kamore. Today we are going to be looking at Nehemiah chapter 12, and in this is the second last chapter of this book. And if you haven't read this chapter, please pause this recording, read the chapter, understand what's happening in this chapter, and let the Holy Spirit speak to you. Let him give you lessons, let him speak to you specifically based on where your life is at, before you can come to listen to my summary and the lessons that I got from it. So in Nehemiah chapter 12, there is a list of priests and Levites, and these are people who had come back to the land of Judah. There were those ones that had come back the very, very first time with the Zerubbabel of Shealtiel and Jeshua. There are those ones that had come back in the time of Nehemiah, those ones that had come back in the time of Ezra. But, these people were just listed down, and which is really good because, I feel like these people are such good record keepers. I'm like, names. Me, I would just be like, 10,000 people came, move on, But names, guys, which is really, really interesting. And in the second part of this chapter, we see the dedication of the wall, and this is where my focus of the lessons are today. And it says that the people dedicated the wall of Jerusalem, and they brought all the Levites to Jerusalem, and all the Levites from the towns that they lived in, they came to Jerusalem to celebrate the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem. And they came to sing songs of praise, to thank God, and they played all the musical instruments that you could imagine, cymbals, the harps, the lyres, and all the singers also came to Jerusalem, and they came from the towns that were around Jerusalem. So all the priests and the Levites made themselves pure in a ceremony, and they also made the people pure, the gates pure, and the wall of Jerusalem pure in this ceremony. And it was just a joyous ceremony. Everybody was happy because God had made them happy. Even the women and children were excited and happy people. Far away, people could hear happy sounds coming from Jerusalem. And Nehemiah arranged the choir. There was a choir that went to the left. There's a choir that went to the right. And people were just singing. It was just a great celebration. On that day, still, the men were chosen to be in charge of the storerooms and then also people brought their first parts of their harvest, rather the first fruits of their harvest, and the 10th of their crops, which is their tithes. And so now these people that had been put in charge of the storerooms had work. Finally, they could actually, chunga something. They could guard something. They were in charge of something because people brought in large numbers. And this was just a day of celebration. You see, the thing is, the wall had been finished. And so now they needed to hold a dedication for the wall. You see, when you dedicate something, you commit this thing to the Lord, this person or this thing to the Lord. When you communicate, you commit this person or thing to the Lord and to the service of God, and you make a commitment to use it for God's glory rather than your own. When you dedicate a child, it means that you're making a commitment that you will do your best to raise this child up to serve the Lord rather than to serve their selfish desires. When you dedicate a house, it means that you plan to use this house as a place to serve God. You pray that it will be a place of hospitality, a place of blessings for those who will visit. And dedicating the wall was their way of saying that this was a newly built Jerusalem, that it belonged to God, and he could do with it and with them what he wanted. They were committed to serving God in this place, and they were also praising God for his favor in finishing this task. It was a celebration. The people were happy. God had favored them in allowing them to get this far. He had favored them in causing them to return to their promised land. He's favored them by allowing them to rebuild the temple. He favored them by allowing them to rebuild the city walls and protecting them when they were building it. This was a time of gladness, a rejoicing and thanksgiving. And how I choose to look at this chapter is, how quick am I to dedicate things, especially new things that I get? When I get even a new sofa, do I dedicate it to the Lord and just say, I would like the people and conversations that happen here to be pleasing to the Lord? When I got my car, I remember I dedicated my car. When I got my new business, I'm actually into this. I dedicate my I dedicated my car, I dedicated my business, my place of work. Even when I used to run apartments, I dedicated all my apartments to the Lord and just said, I want people to experience peace when they're here. I want people to experience joy when they're here, to experience rest when they're here. How fast and how quick are we to dedicate things that we get to the Lord? Even when you get a phone, as simple as small things that you get, are you quick to dedicate them to the Lord? Are you quick to commit to just use them to serve the Lord and use them in the service of the kingdom? So that's my my reflection point for today. Like, do I dedicate things? What have I not dedicated to the Lord, and can I do that? Do I also celebrate things? Do I celebrate the things that God has done? Not just dedicating, but also just celebrating how faithful God has been, because this is the reason why these people had come to celebrate and to thank God, because He had made them happy, because He had favored them, because He had been faithful to them. And I mean, what kind of things do you celebrate? And how do you celebrate? Because you can be celebrating and all you're doing is throwing down sherehes, but you can be celebrating by thanking God because He's the one who has shown you and He has given you the things that He's given you. He has favored you. He has remained faithful. So for me, my challenge are to dedicate the things that I receive, dedicate the things that God gives me back to Him. And then number 2, spend time thanking God for every day, for everything that He does in my life, for every faithfulness that He shows in my life. That I will spend time, I will stop and thank God. I will stop and celebrate the goodness of the Lord in my life. Thank you so much, guys, for listening. And we only have one more chapter to go, which we will be doing on Monday. Unfortunately, it have kwenda mpaka next week. So see you on Monday.